I had this conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. Uh, she was just saying about how because at one stage in my life, I packed up, I sold everything I owned, packed it all up into a single bag, and then went traveling for a year, nearly a year. I didn't really expect to come back. It wasn't really the plan. I didn't really understand what I was doing at the time exactly, but looking back, I do understand very clearly. It was a very difficult part of my life where a lot of things happened with a breakup, and we were living together in the house. And yeah, essentially, I just sold everything I owned, and I was doing really well anyway. I had my own house, I owned the house, well, some of it, car, job, all that stuff. And she said that everyone was so impressed by my courage to do what I did, which was go and explore, sell everything I own and go and explore on my own. And what I realized was that pretty much in my life, most of what people perceive as courage is just pain. And I can see it in so many different areas, pretty much anything. Because when I was a teenager, I went to university for classical music, and I wanted to become a performer. And so we did our own concerts, we did, live performances and recordings and teaching and all this stuff. And it was a lot of this stuff is very nerve wracking. And it looks like courage, right? It looks like, but for me, looking at that, I realized that a lot of it was just my fear of being obsolete, of being alone, the concerns I have surrounding not being lovable or loved. And this was just that pain from that was the thing that motivated me to do these very difficult things, which was, the performance and all those things. And it was just me, the pain of experiencing a life where I felt like people didn't love me. And this was one way to try to prove that I was wrong. So it was just pain. I just wanted to be out of pain. So I was trying to do things that were scary to fix the pain. And then I went to, later on in life, I became an amateur boxer. And this is very, very scary experience, especially your first fight in the ring. It's crazy, and training for it, your first sparring, all that stuff. Same thing, I just had this fear of poor social skills, this fear of not being able to handle a confrontation, fear of other men, that I put myself through years of a lot of pain and suffering and fear in order to try to fix this pain that I had inside, these fears. And it looks like courage, right? It looks like, but it's really just pain. And then it was the same thing with this traveling. I was in this very difficult relationship. We did love each other, but it was very difficult. We lived together in the house that I owned. And I really did love that house. Well, it's a unit. And I had built up a really solid life. Investment, savings. I made a fair bit from that house, car, all the stuff that you're supposed to do, good job. And then we broke up, and the whole relationship was so painful. The breakup was just as painful, the way it happened. And then I remember just being alone in that house right after the breakup happened, and just feeling just so shitty that we'd built this house together and then I was alone in it. So the idea in my head was to go and travel and see the world and stuff like that. But looking back, I realized that I just wanted to destroy myself. And that theme has happened in my life a fair few times. You can look at the boxing was a part of that. There was a lot of drug and alcohol use when I was younger as well, which was that as well. And I look at, the extreme sports and the extreme exercise, and then I look at this traveling thing, and it was just to destroy myself. I was in pain. I didn't know how to handle it, so I chose to sell everything I own and then just spend all the money on traveling solo. And I mean, I have a very strong sense of adventure that is genuine. that was part of it, but I see now that the main thing was just to destroy myself. I destroyed everything that I'd built, financially, essentially. I spent a lot of money. And so what looked like courage to go travel on my own was really just pain. I was in so much pain that I wanted to destroy the pain by trying to destroy myself, which is fundamentally what was happening there, which is what was happening with the drugs and part of the boxing as well, and other things too. So this is just something I've been thinking about. Pain will make you do crazy things that a lot of people won't do because of the pain. And a lot of people who've reached high levels of success, it's just their way of dealing with these extraordinary amounts of pain, especially like big time entrepreneurs and stuff like that. To handle the amount of stress that they're under, they need to be running away from a ton of pain. So I think it's just, in my view, it's a more accurate way of seeing the world, which is the way people handle their pain. This can be manipulated. If you are in pain and if you can't stand your life or hate where you are, you can use that. It's just motivation. You can use that to have endless motivation, which I'm doing and I'm done. Or you can try to face it and fix the core of the issue, the emotions involved, and the very practical things, and try to uncover where you're not seeing yourself clearly in order to put yourself in these incredibly painful positions. It's up to you what you do with it, but I just thought I'd share that anyway. Cheers, guys.